All right, so anytime that I sit down with clients who are looking to buy a home, especially first-time home buyers, I review a number of things, everything from, ensuring that they're pre-approved to their timeline, to where they want to live, to specifics about what they're looking for in a home, okay? I also review with them or just remind them of their budget. So I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not getting into specifics with them about, their specific financial situation and how much they can afford. That's not my place to tell, nor am I qualified to do that. But I do just remind them, hey, make sure you have a budget set. And this is everything from what they're comfortable paying on a monthly basis. So their mortgage payment and their property taxes, insurance, all that wrapped into their monthly payment. I also remind them of, quote unquote, hidden buyer costs. So these are costs associated with buying a home that people might not think of initially when they start the home buying process. And so I like to just remind buyers of this so they're not surprised when somebody asks them for money, okay? So I'm gonna get into what those 6 hidden buyer costs are in this video. And as always, if you find the content that we make and these videos helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that little bell notification so you get alerted anytime that we drop new content. And as always, check the description below for ways to call, text, or email us if you need help selling your home for top dollar or orchestrating a smooth move into the Cleveland area. We got you covered on both. So let's get into the 6 hidden buyer costs associated with buying a home. So the first hidden cost that I always remind buyers of is earnest money, okay? And earnest money, we've talked about before, is also known as a good faith deposit, or it's an opportunity for a buyer to show a seller with their offer that they're serious about moving forward with the sale of their home or the purchase of their home, okay? And it's an opportunity for a buyer to have skin in the game. So this is money that's put down by a buyer well before the rest of their down payment. Okay, and remember that earnest money counts towards your down payment. So this isn't additional money necessarily that you need to pay, but it's just being paid at a much earlier time than the rest of your down payment. Okay, in a lot of the contracts that I write for buyers, this earnest money is required to be deposited with a title company. The title company is a third party that holds a lot of the money throughout the transaction. Required to be deposited with the title company within 4 days of a signed agreement. So let's say you make an offer on a house, the seller accepts your offer, both parties sign, and we officially have an executed purchase agreement. 4 days from when both parties sign that agreement, you have to have your earnest money deposited with the title company. And usually that's in form of a check, or you can do a lot of the stuff online now and just wire the money to the title company, which is super easy, but that needs to be done within 4 days of a signed agreement. How much is earnest money? So earnest money can be any amount, really. Traditionally, and the most common amount is about 1% of the purchase price. So let's get out our calculators, and let's say that you're buying a $326,000 home, okay? 1% of $326,000 is going to be $3,260. So that's the amount that you're going to be depositing with the title company within 4 days of a signed agreement. So that's number 1 for my buyer hidden costs is earnest money. So just think about earnest money, and one thing to remember always is it goes towards your down payment. It's just paid much, much earlier than the rest of your down payment. Hidden cost number 2 is your home inspection. So I always recommend that buyers get a home inspection done, all right? It's almost stupid not to. You want to have a trained professional, licensed home inspector go through the house and just let you know if there's any major issues before you move forward with the sale. All right. And remember that a home inspection is completely on the buyer. Okay. So the buyer is responsible for scheduling and paying for a home inspection. And a home inspection can range in price anywhere from about $300 to $600 is what I usually see for a general home inspector. But that amount can fluctuate and change. Like I said, just depending upon the home inspector and depending upon what type of inspection you're getting. So let's take a look at an offer. So this is page 3 of a Keller Williams, that's my brokerage, purchase agreement, okay, in Cleveland, Ohio, the state of Ohio here. So on page 3, on line 1 27 that you see here is where you can start selecting the type of home inspections that you want to have. So let's say that you want to do a general home inspection. We usually have the number of days you have to get that completed, which in most cases is 7. Then you indicate that it's being paid for by the buyer. Okay. But let's say that you want other inspections done based on the condition of the house. So maybe you want a septic system inspection done, or some sort of water or well inspection done, given, maybe it's a property that has a well on it. Or maybe a radon or a mold inspection. You want to get a specialist out there to look at these things. That's obviously going to increase the amount that you need to pay for these inspections. And some home inspectors are qualified and licensed to do these, but in some situations you have to bring in a separate inspector to knock out these specialty inspections. How I usually write my offers, and again, it's dependent on each property, but how I usually do it is we elect to have a home inspection done, a general home inspection, but then we also have another window of time to get any other inspections knocked out that may pop up or be suggested by that general home inspector. So how that looks in a contract is on line 136 here, we say any inspections deemed necessary by general home inspector. And that's why on line 135, we elect the other option. That gives us an additional 3 days on top of that 7-day window to knock out those specialty inspections if something pops up. So just important to remember that get a home inspection done. You've got to pay for that as a buyer. And it can range anywhere from $300 to $600. It could be even more than that depending on the inspector that you use, or if you have any other specialty inspections done on top of that general home inspection. Number 3 for hidden costs for buyers are appraisals. So appraisals are done and ordered and completed by your lender, okay? So a lender is going to send out an appraiser. An appraisal is basically just an opinion of value. And what the lender is doing is they're sending out a trained professional to make sure that the loan amount that they're going to be giving you, that the home is worth that much, all right? And, unfortunately, this is something that the buyer is going to need to pay for. And this can range anywhere from about $300 to $400. And depending on your lender, sometimes they wrap that into your closing costs. Sometimes they require that to be paid up front. So you might be, the lender might reach out to you and say, hey, we need X amount of dollars for the appraisal. It's been ordered and it'll be completed on this date. So just keep that in mind, and maybe an extra $300 to $400 added to your closing costs, or an upfront fee asked for by your lender. Alrighty, hidden cost number 4 is closing costs. And the best way that I like to describe closing costs to both buyers and sellers is I look at it like tax. So both the buying side and the selling side of a transaction has closing costs that they're responsible for paying. Okay. And these closing costs come from the lending side and the title company side, and they're usually range between 1% and 3% of the purchase price of your home. So just factor that in to your budget when you're calculating how much you're going to be bringing to the closing table. Those closing costs will be paid, when you go and sign your final closing documents. So my advice to buyers here is reach out to a few title companies and get an idea for what their closing fees and closing costs look like. Shop around a little bit and figure out what's best for you. And then, talk with your real estate agent about, hey, this is what this title company said. Have you used them before? Are they credible? Because you want to make sure you're using a credible title company that does a lot of business and that will execute in a timely manner to get your home closed on time. The next 2 hidden fees for buyers, so number 5 and 6, these usually happen after you've already closed on your home. So number 5 for hidden fees is just your moving costs. So take this into account, especially if you're moving maybe from out of state or across town. Maybe you're moving from the west side over here to the east side. But just think about how much it's going to cost to, if you've got to rent a truck or hire a moving company, what all that looks like and how much that'll cost. Make sure you're factoring that into your budget as well. And then lastly, number 6 for hidden fees for buyers. And again, there's more costs that'll pop up, but these are just the main ones that I bring up with buyers. And they always laugh when I talk about this one, but the locks on your house. So anytime that you buy a new house, I always recommend to buyers that they swap out the locks and they put brand new locks in. And this can get expensive. So depending on how big your house is, how many doors you have, there's all types of new technology for locks and smart locks and all that type of stuff. And so, you can expect to pay anywhere from $80 to $200 or more just to swap out all your locks. And the reason why I say do this is for safety, right? You never know when you're buying a new home who has keys to that house. It could be the neighborhood kid down the street who used to walk the dog. He's still got a key. A neighbor's got a key. You just never know. So it's always nice to swap out the locks and you have brand new keys and you know that you are the only ones that have the keys and access to the house. So those are my 6 kind of hidden fees that you can expect to pay or that you should think about when you're going to buy a house. And as always, thank you for listening. And if you want more info or you have additional questions, make sure you check the description below for ways to call, text, or email us if there's anything we can do to help you out here in the Cleveland area. And we'll see you in the next video.